Hey guys, what's up? Thank you for being patient. Today we're going to be looking at the last delicious solo in Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. Let's take a look. Alright guys, before we get too excited, we just need to talk about the tuning, which is E flat standard, which goes E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, and an E flat. So get yourself in tune and we'll get started. Alright guys, let's have a look at the first section. I want to start off with a bend on 17 of the first string. It's going to be a full tone bend, and then I work into this phrase. What I'm doing here is I'm playing 15, 14 on the first string, and then I want to hammer from 14 back to 15, and then I'm going to roll down just using straight pull off legato, 15, 14, 12 after that hammer on. So it'll go, that's all in one pick. So from the start we're going to have this. Really concentrating on getting a nice even volume on that legato. I'm going to do a very similar phrase that we just did then, but after I hit the 12, I want to jump to 16 of the second string, and we get that sexy moment of harmonic minor. So back to back, it'll go. You're just adding in one more cheeky note at the end. From the start now. Hopefully that's all making sense. And then we sort of work down sort of E minor, pentatonic, and diatonic ideas. I'll go. So what I'm doing here is I'm playing 12, 14 on the first string, and then a bend on 15 of the second string, and then I hit 12 of the second string. Do a very similar idea, a slight bend on 14 of the third, and then I jump to 12 of the third. So from the start of that little chunk, at the end of that, I'm going to do a hammer on from 11 to 12 on the third, and then just play 9 of the third string, and that's the first half of this chunk. Let's try and do it from the start thus far. Obviously sexy vibrato when you get to that 9. Then we work into this phrase. This is quite emotional, very dear to my heart. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play 11, 12, 14 on the third, and then I jump to 13 of the second string with my middle finger. Okay, after that, I want to do a hammer on into a pull off, going 12, 13, 12 on the second string, and then jumping to 14 of the third. Let's join that to the last chunk. Okay, hopefully that's making sense. At the end of that, I want to do a slide from 13 to 15 on the second string, and then I'm going to play 13 and then 2 12s. Let's just try that sliding phrase again. Alright, so let's try and take it from that little run at the start of this chunk now. Okay, at the end of that, what I've got here is a semitone bend on the second string from 12 with my pointer finger. Then I jump to 14 of the third string, and at the end of that, I've got a bend up and back from 15 of the first string. That's just a full tone bend. Let's try the whole thing from the start, and then we'll do it again even slower, some tabs. some tabs. Okay, let's have a look at the second section. I want to start from a slight bend on 11 of the 3rd string, and then I'm going to hit 9 of the 3rd string twice. I'm going to do that exact same idea twice. Except the second time, the 9th fret note that I hit twice is a little bit shorter, and then I bend in from behind from the 8th fret. So altogether thus far. Okay, at the end of that, I want to hit 8 again after that bend and then slide to 11. Sorry. That'll slide to 11, then it'll go. So what I've got here is a slight bend on 11 of the 3rd string, but then I want to play 9, and then I'm going to do a slight bend on 4th fret of the 3rd string. After I've done that bend, I want to bend it back to its rest position and then just play 4 as a regular note. At the end of that, I'm going to play 5 as a regular note and then slide from 5 to 9. So to go. Let's try the whole thing thus far from the start of this section, then we'll add a little bit more to it. Hopefully that's all making sense. Then we work into a very similar idea to what we had before. So I'm going to do a slight bend on 11, hit 9, and then bend in from behind the 9 from the 8 again. I'll hit the 8 again as a single note, and then slide that into 11. So to go. After I get to 11, now this is what's really strange, we slide from 8 to 11, and then we want to bend into the same note from 9. So to go. At the end of that, I bring it down and vibrato the 9. Now on the actual record, this is the point where there's a crossover, so you can choose to vibrato this note and let someone else do that part, or you can just leave this 9 out and go straight into the wah part. So to go, and then the crossover happens. That's pretty much the whole section, so let's go from the start at a relatively slow speed, and then we'll do it again even slower with some tabs. Time with some tabs. Alright guys, let's take a look at the 3rd section. This is when the wah comes in and things get a little livin' la vida loca. I want to start off with a hammer-on to pull off going 7, 8, 7 on the 2nd string. And then I want to go to 9 of the 3rd, and then back down to 7 of the 2nd. So altogether that little chunk's going to go like this. Okay, at the end of that I'm working to this. So what I'm going to do here is a bend on 10 of the 2nd string, and then I want to play 7 of the 1st string, and then a pull off from 8 to 7 on the 1st, and that's going to go like this. So back to back, a little slower. Okay, and this is kind of working around a harmonic minor or a Spanish Phrygian vibe. I'm going to work into this. What I'm playing now is 11 of the 1st string, and then I play 7th fret, and then a hammer on from 8 to 11. Slow down, Christopher. So let's try and put those 3 chunks together. Okay, after that, I want to do a slide from 12 to 14 on the 1st string, and then a hammer on from 11 to 12. So we're going to add that in now. So we've got... Okay, at the end of that, I want to do a hammer on from... So we've got... Actually, we'll slide this. Can we go from 14 to 15 on the 1st string, and then we'll hammer 12 to 14 after that. So we're going to have sort of 2 slidey ideas in a row. So from the start now, this is what we should have. Okay, hopefully that's all making sense. And then we'll work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. I'm going to start off by playing 15 of the first string, and then do a pull off from 14 to 12, and jump to 15 of the second string. Okay, then after that I jump back down to 14 of the first, and then play 15 of the second string. So altogether this little chunk. Okay, and then I want to do a hammer into a pull off going 12, 14, 12 on the first, and I jump to 15 of the second. So I go. At the end of that I play 12 of the first, and then a bend on 15 of the second string, and bring it back. So it'll go. Let's try putting the whole thing together from the start of the section, and then we'll do it again even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. Okay, let's have a look at the fourth section. I want to start off with this little phrase at the start. We're going to do exactly the same thing twice. Alright, so I'm starting off with two bends on 15 of the 15 of the second string. And then I'm working down the pentatonic. I'm playing 12 of the first, a pull off from 15 to 12 on the second, and then playing 14 of the third string. So all together. Okay, and we're going to do that whole idea twice. You can either do like a bit of an economy sweep pick thing, or do some outside picking. It is up to you what you decide to do. And then at the end of that, after I've done two of those, I work into this, which is two bends from 17 of the second string. Then I've got a flat fingered chord, it's a bit gross, on 14 of the first and second string. And then I work into this phrase. So what I'm doing here is I'm bending 17 of the second string, playing 15 of the first, whilst I sustain that bend, and then I go another bend, so I go, and then from there, I want to bend it up and back and then pull off to 15. So we've got, at the end of that, I want to end on a hammer on from 15 to 17. So let's try what we've got thus far from the start, and then we'll go to the second half. Hopefully that's making sense. Then I work into this phrase. Alright, let's slow that down. I want to start with the bend on 15 of the second string, then I play 12 of the first, and then I play 15, 12 on the second, so it'll go like this. Then I go, so what I've got here is a bend from 14 of the third string, pulling off to 12, and then I just want to play 14 to 12 as a regular pull off. So all together. At the end of that, I just want to play 14 with some delicious vibrato. Okay, then it goes. What I've got here is I'm playing 12, and then 14 is a bend on the third string, and then it'll go 12, 14, 12. So all together of that little phrase. Okay, then I work into this phrase. Now you can use a flat pinky or a flat ring. It's up to you what you decide to do. I like to use the ring and the pinky. So I'm going to bend 14 of the third string, play 15 of the second, and then do the same thing, but play 15 of the first. So it'll go. So I want to bend the third, play the second, bend the third, play the first, and we're going to do one of each of those twice. But at the end of the second group, I'm going to do a fifth bend and then hit the first string again. So we should have 5 bends altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the end of that, I'm going to bring the bend down, pull it off to 12 of the third string, and then jump to 14 of the fourth string. Then I go. After that, I'm just doing a pull off from 14 to 12 on the third string and going to 14 of the fourth. And there's a little dead note there. So let's try and go from the bendy bit with the pinky, and then we'll try the whole thing from the start of the section and then try it even slower with some tabs. All right, let's try doing it from the start of the section, from those bends and that pentatonic. One more time with some tabs. Alright, let's have a look at section 5. I want to start from 12th of the 3rd string. I'm going to start off with a little bit of vibrato-y bendiness, and I go into this. What I've got here is a pull-off from 14 to 12 back to 14 on the 4th string. Then I've got 2 dead notes, which I do just as a forward back strum. So I'm kind of quite loose with my fretting ahead. So I do the 2 dead notes, and I'm going to do a hammer-on into a pull-off, which is going 12, 14, 12 on the 3rd string, and then jumping to 14 of the 4th string. All together. And that whole idea happens twice. So all together, we're working to this big delicious run. So this is all around the E minor pentatonic. We'll work through it slowly. I'm going to start from 12 of the 3rd string. I'm going to hit this note twice, and then play 14 to 12 on the 4th string. After that, I want to jump to 14 of the 3rd string. I'm going to hit this twice, and then I'm going to play 12 of the 3rd and jump to 14 of the 4th. So you'll notice that there's a bit of a pattern here. We've got 2 of the same note, and then we just descend down the pentatonic and then start from a higher version, and then keep doing that. So this is what we should have thus far. From the 2nd string on 12, we're going to do a similar idea. I'm going to hit that note twice, and then I play 14, 12 on the 3rd, and then from 15 of the 2nd string, still working up the E minor pentatonic, I hit that note twice, and then I'm going to play 12 of the 2nd and jump to 14 of the 3rd. So all together thus far from this big build in the E minor pentatonic. Okay, hopefully that's making sense. I want to go from 12 of the 1st string now. I want to hit that note twice, and then I want to play 15, 12. Sorry. And that's just hitting it once. So I play 2 12s and then 15, 12, one time each on the 2nd string. At the end of that, what I'm doing is I'm hitting 15 twice in the 1st string, and then I hit 12 of the 1st. So it goes. At the end of that, I work into this phrase. That's the one. So what I'm doing here is I'm playing 15, 14, 12 on the 1st string. As soon as I hit the 12 though, I want to hammer in and out from 12 to 15 back to 12. So it'll go. After that, I want to jump to 15 of the 2nd string. So it'll go. And then I jump back down to 12 of the 1st string. So it'll go. So let's go from the big build up through the pentatonic. We'll go from the start of the section, and then we'll try the whole thing even slower with some tabs. Alright, let's go from the start now. Remember the dead notes that we had? One more time with some tabs. Okay, this last section we're going to start off with a sexy pentatonic lick. We're going to do exactly the same thing 4 times. So I'm going to start off with a bend on 15 of the 2nd string, and then I'm going to play 12 of the 1st and pull off 15, 12 on the 2nd. We'll do the bend, and that little pull off lick. Then I'm going to go from 14 of the 3rd string, and then I'm going to borrow that little pull off lick I had from 12 and the 15, 12 on the 2nd string. So it's basically the same idea twice, just with some different bending notes. Hopefully that's making sense. And that's the whole lick. So we're going to repeat that 4 times. Hopefully that's all making sense. And then I want to work into this phrase. At the start of that, I'm doing a tone and a half bend on 15 of the first string. So I'm trying to make that sound like 18. So I'm doing that big delicious bend, then I bring it back down to the regular 15, and then I'm going to do a hammer-on into a pull-off going 12, 15, 12 on the first, and I jump to 15 of the second and back down to 12 of the first. Okay, hopefully that's all making sense. Then we work into this last little phrase. Let's slow that down and then we'll put it all together. So the start of that, I'm doing a bend on 15 of the second string, then playing 12 of the first, and then the next thing that I did was a pull off from 15 to 12 on the second. At the end of that, I'm doing a bend in and out into a pull off from 14 of the third string down, pulling off to the 12. All together now. To finish that off, I've got this phrase. Okay, so the start of that is a bend on 14 of the third string. I've got my pinky hitting 15 of the second string whilst I'm at the top of that bend, and then I want to bring the bend down and pull off. Okay, and then I jump to 14 of the fourth. And to finish it, I've got to pull off from 14 to 12 on the third string, and then I jump back up to 14 of the fourth. At the end of that, I've got that vibrato and the slide off into oblivion from 12 of the third. So from here, you'll notice that I've got a bit of a flat finger there. You can economy pick that if you want to roll through that. That's the whole thing. Let's take it from that lick at the start, which is the same thing 4 times, and then we'll slow it down and do the whole thing again with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. And that was the sexy final solo from Sweet Child of Mine. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all very soon.